All right, now that I've had a little taste of the salsa, I'm good to go. It's not too hot. You know, I'm not gonna need to take a break and go, whew. All right, so in our last part, we examined the character sheets. We extracted some points of information which can help us create NPCs to bridge characters together. And we made an NPC that would randomly bridge two of the characters as a fun challenge that Derek put out. And so to continue it now, I want to make two characters in this next session, in this next part here. The first one now, I'm gonna roll for three characters that we can make an NPC about. And then the last one, I'm not gonna roll for any characters because I want this to be an NPC that is either just cut from whole cloth and there's no, it'll be an NPC that will have an influence on the story, but not necessarily an attachment to the characters. And we can also review the land if we want it to be an NPC of the region. That's fine. In fact, we can review that even before this to get some ideas. Or it can just be a concept out of the blue. Or we can pre-generate the items to fill in, and then based on that, Derek and anyone else out there who wants to throw an opinion, we can craft the personality from the random bits and bobs that we generate instead of doing it the other way around. Victor, did you get a chance to think about the suggestions that Derek gave you before you took off? Derek offered some solid pieces of consideration for you that I think are going to serve you well. Hi, Technotron. Welcome. All right, this next NPC move our settlement concept over a little bit here. Let's reset, and I want this NPC to touch on three of the characters this time. You know what? We might even have repeats of the characters from last time. And that's fine. That's perfectly okay. So, first things first, before I hit this magic button. This was our settlement concept for Apogea. Grassland mountain terrain. It's under a feudalistic system. There's a ruined or toppled statue of a person and a ruined or toppled circle of standing stones. Those are the ruins that I was talking about in the last part. There's a river ferry guided by a skeletal captain who... This could be an NPC, him or herself, or itself, depending. Who knows at this point, right? It's just bones. This could even be an NPC we can flesh out. The dominant race are tieflings, and the minority race are half-orcs. And we randomly rolled that. And because of the last character we made, right, this kind of shifter character, this amalgamation of nature and such, that led to the theory about Apogea. Hey, Physaris, guten Morgen to you. That there's a magical influence that has taken the races that existed on both sides of the mountain, had this kind of nature arcane feud, and has brought them together. And so that humans-ish, mostly humans, half humans, quasi-humans, are the result of the mixing of these races that existed before, as they're unified under faith, which is sort of this third aspect of things, sort of like an arbiter between the two other opposing forces. Of course, this cult, which is the current calamity, is seeking to break that divine bond and trying to go for like a self-empowerment route. And you may recall we spent over 9,000 hours in MS Paint to come up with the concept of Apogea here. You know, the city's in this crook of the mountain. There's a natural pass, and there's a fort that that sort of acts as a bridge and straddles the pass to also act as like a gatehouse, as a guardian between the two sides. Which, of course, can also be traversed by this man-made canal and lake. There's a natural lake from all the meltwater and such, as well as this underground river that pools out naturally, but then that was channeled artificially. There's a tunnel system. There's some forest, right? Here's the fallen sort of the druid circle of old, and this is the toppled statue of presumably like a great wizard or some other arcanist, a sorcerer perhaps. Even a bard, right? Very charismatic leader, arcane magic. Who exists here sort of as over in the mountain or in the city is in between the two. And we determined that the cult is operating out of a little like man-made island in this man-made lake out this way. And that cult is what we were referencing when we were talking about our previous character. All right, Victor. Yeah, stick around as long as you can. That was a long stream, Derek. We're still streaming that stream. And then there's a gambling den called the Leering Eagle. Pardon me, I forgot to mute. So this is possible NPC inspiration as well. As an NPC that can bond our characters, or as this completely detached NPC. I mean, maybe we want to make the proprietor of the Leering Eagle. Doesn't know the characters, doesn't necessarily care about them. This, you know what worked out so perfectly? We just talked about this nobleman had a problem with gambling, and I totally forgot there was a gambling den that was the aspect of the big tavern, like the big public house. I mean, that might undermine it. It'd be like a little, like a nice resort or a very nice inn that has gambling. I totally forgot about that. And isn't that wonderful how it still connects? It's all organic, right? Oh my gosh. Did I tell you I'm a believer in this system? I might be biased because that's what I do when I broadcast it. All right. Put this away. All right, Derek. Let's come up with an NPC that will pull together 2, 3, and 1. Sooty, Palanca, and Duggan. Now, these are the obvious NPC prompts for 1, 2, and 3 that are up here. We have our character sheets open. We looked at the city. There's a lot of inspiration, so there's the challenge. What is one NPC that we can create that will cover these 3 characters? Sooty is our devotion paladin woodworker. Palanca is our vengeance paladin former highwayman or highway robber. And Duggan is our acolyte rogue thief. As we generated Elbrun, no. The region is not known to have a dragon in its midst. Technotron thinks that the NPC, we need a rat or someone that's kind of greasy. All right, Victor. Hey, catch your bus. Be well. Get going. Go. Shoo. Get out of here. Derek says, I think we need to take on that rival for Sooty. Probably someone trying to play for his own love interest. This person is a criminal contact by trying to cheat for the affection. He's a bookie, and currently Lom owes him a great sum. Oh, you want to bring... we could bring Lom into it as well. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not sure what that is, Fi. Is that a monster? All right, so the connection is... Yeah, and you know what, Technotron? That would kind of touch on your, we need a rat. You know, we do need someone who's kind of Our noble was unlikable. I don't know if I'd call our noble we generated a rat. And so this might fit that bill. Pardon me. Oh, snap. You know what this means? Is that Sawfang has to go to work soon. I'll wait for Sawfang and crew to get out of, Yep, I knew it. I called it. Yep, you're right. It's totally fine. Hey, you and your stream, you're in good hands. We're going through some good creative drills right now. You're just coming by as we're getting started on generating a new NPC. Pardon me. The next logical connection, it's a were-rat. Well, you know, Elbrun, with us discussing how we have this mechanical half-orc, but is in reality some kind of like a lycanthrope shifter, as per an amalgamation of her race and class. He very well could be a were-rat. Have a great night. Have fun at work, Sawfang. Thanks for the raid. For those of you who came over, hey, grab a snack and a drink, settle down, and we're gonna do some workshop activity here. All right. So if I'm understanding this, the pitch, like the occupation and history, is that she is a loan shark. Derek. She's a loan shark using her money to try and buy the affection of Javier. Making her a rival to Sooty. Also being a bookie and info broker. She is also Palanca's criminal contact, having sold her caravan schedules back when she was still a practicing highway robber. And then as for Duggan, he's a diplomat, or by his job, he is sent out by his temple in order to try and bring peace. So there, maybe the temple got word that there's a possible power play love triangle brewing, or the temple has always wanted to restrict some of the activities that this loan shark is known to do. Or maybe the activities are illegal, but she always continues to find ways to either explain it or divorce herself from having an actual thumbprint on the activity. And so Duggan could be this NPC's, Inspector Zenigata, chasing after Lupin III and his crew here. I think that works well, Derek. She's pursued and under the scrutiny of Duggan and his faith. For her alleged misdeeds and crimes. She is a higher up so she might not be the owner, but maybe she's an operative, some sort of like a contract agent, or, just like rents a bookie booth, or something through there. Especially if she's a bookie of some kind, a loan shark, that would be very interesting. Trying to pursue him, because he has this distaste, right, for what happened. Is he was ashamed of getting into debt with a bookie. That's what led to his injury. Let the Wookiee win. Hey, 12 for 10, welcome. A place of fine food and entertainment that unfortunately for her, continually draws Duggan to sample its sumptuous meals and atmosphere. Right? He's used to the good life. And the church, so he knows what he's talking about, but the church can put him as a plant in the casino, to make sure everyone is, behaving in some, way, shape, or form, or at least the really bad elements can be taken care of. So he has a constant excuse to be there and watch over her as he can. As they continually see me, they just keep bumping into each other. Funny how that works. Okay. We need a name for this character. Is she dwarven? Is she tiefling? Is she human? Is she half-orc? Even if tiefling and half-orc can be is she this kind of shifter race? We said she might be a were-rat. And if so, then what is her humanoid, like, what is her non-rat form? You know, what does her other humanoid form take? Brendan, you want her to be a halfling? Derek wants to call her Bernal Groms. As Elbrun Morgs. Okay. Halfling for the food. Her appearance is 14. A braided beard or hair. It's a shame she's not a dwarf, because she could have both. Braided hair. So, why is her hair being braided a notable appearance trait? What does it mean? Or how is it braided in such a way that she is somehow known for this style? Have her wear a dwarven beard like a toupee? I think because the dwarves would take great offense at that, and she wouldn't be around too much longer. She might have an unfortunate mining accident. And she doesn't even work in a mine. So how they found her body there, oh, who knows? You know, does she have beads or other trinkets braided into her hair? Does she have cornrows? Does she have, is her hair braided because it's actually, you know, if she's a halfling, she's like, what, tickling 3 feet tall? What if her hair is like 5 feet long and so she has to braid it in order to wear it up so it's not dragging behind her? She might have unusually long hair that she wears in a braid. Auburn says dreadlocks with wooden and precious metal beads braiding into them. Derek says the braids have trinkets in it that are a form of thieves' cant or gang markers. Physaris, metal strips in the braids as some kind of armor, maybe? Interesting, sort of like an interwoven helmet. New Monica says her hair braid might double as her belt. Maybe her hair is her method of murder or leg breaking. She's going to strangle people with it and never let anyone find the murder weapon. Ooh. Auburn says the ends of the braids have sharpened triangular beads that she can use as a type of flail or whip. Ooh. Or 12 for 10. With the big reveal, it's a wig. The whole time, it's just been a wig. Okay, so yeah, let's do that. Yeah, they are. All right. Braided hair, which when let down is longer than she is tall. She uses beads and trinkets braided into it to send signals through thieves' cant. For orders to place bets, collect debts, or take some other form of action which can include violence. Her hair is long and strong enough to be used as a whip or garrote. Making her always both unsuspecting and lethal. Ta-da! And we could put in other details that you all brought up as well, but I wanted to make sure while I still had it in the front of my brain that we got the core idea down, and then we can bring up other aspects of it here too. All right, let's look at her two major abilities. High and low. 4 and 3. High intelligence, low constitution. Is she a wizard? Or an Eldritch Knight of some kind? And she uses her hair as the weapon? As a magical focus? Maybe some of the trinkets are magical focus or components. Interesting, interesting. Or honestly, she can be a rogue. Sneak attacking with that much damage. Rogues can have high int. I mean, any character can have high int. But maybe she is a rogue also. Just a high int rogue. Oh yeah, there is that mastermind class. Is that a bard class or is that a rogue class? Subclass, I should say. All right, her talent. It is rogue. Okay. Good suggestion, Derek. NPC talent. 18. Hoo-hoo. She is a skilled actor and master of disguise. You know what that means? While she's not directly an NPC that is related to Lom, that is Lom's territory. And so Lom could feasibly get involved in this as well to sort of counter her disguise with his disguise mastery. In fact, Duggan might even discover that he and Lom share this bond through the church, and that could be Lom's hook into the story. A tactical rogue. Josh the NES nerd, hello and welcome. We're having some awesome brainstorming and workshopping creating an NPC. Is she turtley enough? I don't know if she's turtley enough. Her mannerisms, we're going to roll that on a d20. We rolled a 20. Oh, she twirls hair or tugs beard. Isn't that convenient? Always twirling her hair, right? She's sending signals. She's playing with the beads as thieves can't. To constantly send signals to her brokers, to her guards, to whatever. She might have a scrying sensor on her, and so her attuning things is sending signals far and wide also. She could be a mastermind, like Derek said. You know, some sort of well, maybe not a kingpin, but a queenpin, you know, gangster. I love to come into session prep streams and hang out. I've been running a campaign lately, and it's just fun to chit-chat. Yeah, Josh, you are in absolutely the right place. You know, while we do run a campaign on Tuesdays, Wednesday through Saturday is our workshop time. We make characters, we make NPCs, we go through villain and map creation and, you know, building terrain and lore and culture, economics. It's all here. So Josh, if you ever need some help, I mean, you could just sit back and absorb what we're going through. But if you need help in particular with your campaign, feel free to ask for it over here. Myself and there's a whole slew of others who will be happy to step up and help give you some ideas. So she's constantly twirling her hair, which if you're presenting this NPC to your player characters, that could show a compulsion, or that could be the clue into showing just how important her hair is. Aside from just saying, you know, it's piled all on her head, right? She has 5 feet of hair on a less than 3 foot tall woman. You want to do a Yanti character that twirls her hair too? Interactions with others. How do they tend to interact with other people? Let's roll a d12 and find out. 5. Curious. She is an info broker. She asks a lot of questions. Maybe if she doesn't even need to, she always asks questions to keep up that facade. If she's a master of disguise, she also needs to be able to operate in many circles. So that curiosity, I think, is going to serve her very well. Plus, she needs to know just with whom she's dealing. Should I lend money to this person, and why? Are they going to be good for it? I don't want to have to break knees. It's much easier to collect money. Or it's much more preferable. Broken knees don't, you know... What do? They send a message. All right, 12 for 10. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's good seeing you. Hey, if she was a tiefling, or arguably a dragonborn, she could twirl her tail, Elbrun, instead of her hair. That would be an interesting trait. Hey, I'm open-minded to stuff like that, Derek. Clandestine gamers, first time here? Oh, and you moved back to Korea to work. Well, you know... It wasn't Korea, but I had the opportunity to teach English in Japan after I got my undergraduate degree a while ago. And I always regret not doing that. Well, I can't say I regret it. I often think back to what my life would have been like if I took that opportunity to teach overseas for a year or two. Just using Open Office? Yes, so clandestine. Our workshops, I want to create an environment that's as accessible to many people as possible. We primarily only use the core 3 rulebooks, and even then, most of our work is done through the player's handbook, with some done through the Dungeon Master Guide, like what you're seeing here. And we use Open Office since it's a free office program that anyone can download. And while I do use Wonder Draft for some map making, we also have done a lot in Paint, in how to make a good... bold standard fantasy map for your campaign that's easy to read and still contains culture and landmarks and all the like, so that what we do is encouraging to new players, or allows for experienced players who might just have a ton of ideas to funnel a very easy methodology to get it all down on paper or electronic paper. So, Clandestine, thanks for finding us and for hanging out. If you have any other questions about our methodology or about what's going on here or who we are, what we do, you are welcome to ask. Look, you're sitting at a table in a game store. We're sitting down and having a discussion of D&D. It's an open environment for ideas and questions. Josh says your players are mid-quest. They didn't go through everything in the quest that I set up. Well, that's they will miss things here and there. So if you need to contemplate how to put those elements back in front of them again for another opportunity, or otherwise weave it in, or just say, you know what? They extracted what they thought was relevant. I can work with this and go from there. Oh, Clandestine, thank you very much for that follow. It hasn't shown up here yet, but I saw the notification. Unfortunately, my Korean isn't that strong. It was I took Japanese in undergrad, had almost 4 years of it. And I'll tell you, when I was deciding what language I wanted to take, because I did want to take a language that wasn't French, I took 4 years of French in high school. It was between Korean, Arabic, and Japanese. And ultimately, because I'm just a big old weeaboo, I went with Japanese. But I do enjoy that Korean, the way that the alphabet was built. It's rather simplistic. It's not that difficult to read Korean. Obviously, you got to learn the, nouns, verbs, and the vocabulary and such, not in the sentence structure. But I thought that was really neat. In fact, I had a lot of people say you should just learn Korean if you're looking for an easier to learn Asian language, especially one that's still relevant to business and economic trends. Learning Korean would be a good one. Oh, well, you're going to have a market for it, clandestine. And you know what? I mean, you probably do know this because you're here. Role-playing games and board games are excellent for learning or teaching a language. Because if you think about it, it's descriptive. And we go over very basic ideas. Jump, attack, run, move, city, food, monster, injury. Settlers of Catan. If any of you want a quick little pro tip, challenge yourself to relabel a Settlers of Catan copy you might have in another language, and play with it using that vocabulary and trying to use basic sentence structure like trade, or give, things like that. Settlers of Catan and other games can be excellent tools to help teach or learn or just reinforce a foreign language. Oh, clandestine, that's amazing. Your middle school students are creating their own D&D story. English writing and sentence structure. Elementary students, first time seeing a game board that's not on their phones. Well, then I'm preaching to the choir, my friend. That is... There you go. Independent third-party verification from some rando. I keep saying that. I'm some rando on Twitch. Thank you very much from a person who does this professionally. All right, what useful knowledge does she have? Well, we touched on this above with her occupation and history. She's a criminal contact, especially for the one character, for the one PC. But for the others, she knows... she knows a great deal about the underbelly of the region, as well as much above board knowledge. Pardon me, and is impeccable at statistics. Right? High intelligence. She's a bookie. She calculates probabilities. Again, we even entertained she might even be a wizard if she's not some sort of like an arcane trickster or a mastermind rogue. Someone who plans, someone who plots, someone who thinks and calculates, whether it's math or just in a broader sense. So she is full of useful knowledge. She's a rat. Or she might even be a were-rat, as we were discussing. That would be an ideal for her, right? Marry into a noble family with my criminal position, I would be untouchable. Well, let's see if we can take that as the thought. We'll randomly generate maybe the core, and then we can extend it. In fact, we might even roll in a two-word sentence here, or in a two-word concept, what that is. But that is why she'd be pursuing this noble, is for power, money, immunity, influence. In fact, the two might even end up being perfect for each other because they'd both just be using each other to get their own individual. So it'd be a loveless marriage if it occurred. Maybe not. You know, if he's not a halfling and she is, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the genetic compatibility's there and you make 3 quarterlings. But, you know, the noble family must live on in some way. Although, if she's a master of disguise, maybe when she's courting him, you know, she takes an enlarge potion and she looks like an exotic human. Who knows, huh? See how Derek. I don't think it's that high, but I do think that I do think that modern divorce rates are a little over 50%. 3 quarterlings are dwarves, kind of, yeah. You're medium, but come on. All right, the ideal on a 2d6, 1 and 5. A good ideal. Oh, she seeks respect. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And what does that mean to her? Now, she could still be an evil person that's upholding this ideal. You know, maybe she wants to be good. She wants to be seen as not a criminal, as not a seedy person, even though it's what she excels at doing. Maybe she doesn't want to be a criminal, or at least seen as one anymore. She wants respect, and that could very well go into what Derek was talking about and her motivation for trying to court this noble. Maybe she sees it as an out, so she no longer has to be a criminal. So she's Loki. Yeah, right. People keep looking at me like I'm some, you know, trickster, murderer, you know, deceiver. And just because I'm really good at it and I keep doing it, it doesn't mean I want to do it. But it's what I'm good at doing, and it happens. Yeah, Pneumonica, I agree. Josh the nerd asks, or Josh the NES nerd asks, what are your thoughts on fudging rolls? A lot of DMs use the roll of their die behind the scenes as advice and less like the law. Josh, I roll openly, so I don't fudge my numbers. It helps keep me responsible as a DM because it's sort of like that concept, right? If you draw your sword, you know, don't draw your sword idly. If you're drawing your sword, it means you're going to use it. And there's even some magical swords that, unless they taste blood, it's going to taste your own blood before it goes back in that scabbard. And so if you're going to roll dice, you know, make sure it means something. And so I roll in the open. So I can also be held to account for my actions as a DM, which could include killing a player, which has happened in our Tuesday broadcast game. Or, you know, other good or bad things. Now, I'm fine with rolling dice to create tension, even if it doesn't necessarily do something. Because I'm still rolling openly, and I'm, you know, everyone can see that I did something. So I avoid fudging dice rolls, and I don't necessarily like rolling. You know, using a DM screen is fine. It's good notes, but I would roll around and in front of the DM screen so people can see my rolls. But I am personally not a fan of fudging dice rolls. That's my anecdote. And there you go. Daily, my players at the end of our last session were going back to a location to kill an octopus that was just a pet. I guess that it was described so well that they thought the octopus played a major role. 3 hours of real hardcore planning and returning to an area that was really tapped out to kill a creature that's a CR 0 and 3 hit points. But wow, the looks on their faces when they realized they had spent 3 hours on a huge battle plan for nothing. One of my proudest DM moments. Oh, Daily, if you have suspenders, then you can proudly, you know, stretch them and snap them back with pride. Hey, GM Vault. Pneumonica, holding firmly to principles of honor, honesty, dignity, and loyalty, describes some of the more vicious and destructive of samurai. Derek says to Josh, part of the problem is DMs tend to ask for more rolls than they need, and so they tend to have more situations go south. Only rolls when it matters, when it's a point of drama, and there is true uncertainty. GM Vault says it's better to kill the characters, Maddie. Shouldn't kill the players. It's kind of illegal and stuff. Technicality. Come on, GM Vault. I mean, look, Derek made the resolution that this year he doesn't want to kill any of his players. And I admire that as a goal. I hope that I, too, can avoid killing my players. Rolling dice just to create tension. Pneumatica has been snarled at by players for making them save versus nothing. Yeah, hey, every system has unique quirks and fun bits and things that you can add to or subtract to and from other systems, Victor. That's right, GM Vault. If it wasn't for physics and law enforcement, I'd be unstoppable. Derek, I really do try and pay attention to what you all say in chat. Pardon. I try and remember who you are and what you do. I try and remember some of the things that you say, and to try and create a rapport with you all in the audience. I mean, it would be the same as if you walk into my store. You know, you come in, it might take a couple times, and I'll remember your name eventually, and then, you know, I'll remember, you know, hey, you know, how's it working? Or, you know, if you just had a kid, how's your kid doing? Or, you know, what's happening here? Oh yeah, I remember you like Magic. The new set's going to be coming out soon, etc. and so forth. Elbrand has a similar goal. Josh says, I know a DM that doesn't even use a screen at all. He sits on the same side of the table as his players. His notes are on the table, and he won't even think about it if his players glances. Well, I mean, because it's going to happen anyway, and if the players are going to glance at the DM notes, that's more on them than on the DM. My intention, Victor, is to start it in February, yes. Oh, GM Vault, are you taking pictures, or are you gonna make a video about that? All right, her bond is a D10. Let's find out. Her bond is 9. Whoo! Out for revenge. Oh my. Against whom would she be getting revenge? Either by her profession or pursuing this love interest of the noble. Does she see, you know, Sooty sees her as a rival. Maybe she doesn't even know who Sooty is. Or is Sooty the object of her revenge? Or is there a villain or an NPC against whom she is getting revenge? Right? She is the criminal contact for Palanca here. If this NPC is a respected member of the family of our paladin, you know, we said that because she's guilty of a terrible crime, that she wants to redeem herself. Maybe the revenge that this NPC, who's arguably, you know, a bad guy herself, just not a villain, what if the revenge is to support Palanca? Because this person who maybe framed her for a crime or just convinced her to commit the crime, maybe not even framing, just said, oh yeah, you should go and do this, and neglected to inform her that there was a trap or some sort of a security system involved, or something along those lines. And so we have a terrible person who's plotting revenge, and so we have Palanca who's on this story of redemption from being a former highway robber, now who has taken this oath of vengeance as a paladin and is seeking justice, but maybe isn't going about it the same way that our NPC, who's not above strangling someone with her own hair. You know, and so the race is on, and we have these two women who want the same goal, but they're approaching it in a different manner. And put me in, coach. Thank you very much for that host. Welcome to you. And Victor, I'm glad you're happy for it. I'll have details about when and where, how, and etc. I'll have details of that sometime over my 2-week breakish. Again, I might hop on to do a bonus stream of a video game or something along those lines to test out my settings as I'm working on the back end of the channel. Elbrun put up another photo, so I can bring that up here in just a little bit. A screen can get in the way. And the screens are very good for rules referencing, but I understand there could be pros and cons to that. Oh yeah. So that tactic was even used by Gary Gygax, so that the DM was a detached voice, an unseen narrator of action, so that the DM was behind the screen. Woo. And things played out as they did. GM Vault, yeah, it's it's what the kids use in their modern parlance here. All right, so we have an object of revenge, and what is her flaw or a secret that she carries? 11. She is in possession of forbidden lore. Could that be a key that the cult is after in order to complete their plans? And she came across it. Maybe she was collecting a debt and someone had, I don't know, like an old book or an old manuscript or an old trinket of some kind. And so she's in possession of it. She might not know exactly what it is or does. She just knows it might be valuable, or she knows there's people looking for it, which makes it valuable even if she doesn't know what it is or does. And so we have this terrible person anyway, arguably a redeemable character, who can also be the victim of this cult that's looking to take over the area. I mean, Victor, it is an evil cult that's looking to undermine society itself. So, I think we can call it what it is. Okay, so we made this more challenging NPC. We started easy. What's one NPC that can connect 2 of our characters? This one connects 3 in a more complex fashion. Now, so Derek, because you've stepped up to guide this challenge here, how would you like to approach our final NPC? Do you want me to generate some vague, random aspects, and we want to create an in-depth character in some way from that? Do you want to? Do you want me to kind of go through the character creation process to flesh out, race, class, background with more detail than just the NPC summary? Renegade Mac and Cheese. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Sit back, have fun, engage in the conversation. Hit me and I'll hit you back. All right, so we have Macabre Wobbuffet here. All right, I'll tell you what. Oh, you're a new DM looking to create a homebrew campaign, but don't know where to start. Renegade Mac and Cheese, you are absolutely in the correct place. We are primarily a workshop channel. You are with other DMs that are new, and us old timers. Some are more oldie and timey than others. Elbrun, yep, thank you very much for that. Elbrun, if you wanted to join us over on our Discord, we keep it safe for work, no worse than PG-13. You can always ask questions here when we're broadcasting, but if you want to know more, You don't have to be a subscriber to access this channel. I mean, if you subscribe, I'm happy to earn that, and hopefully you'll see why. But if you come down here to past content, it has a little 3.5 floppy disk next to it. Hey, if you're not old, then you're just tiny, GM. But if you come to past content, this is where you'll find our past broadcasts that have been uploaded to YouTube. And of course, this is going to derp out and not load here as I'm describing. In this channel, you'll find us constructing campaigns from the ground up. Maps, dungeons, PCs, NPCs, villains. And not only can you watch the videos from those broadcasts, the materials that we produce, the PDFs for the characters, the documents, like what you see up here, these documents for NPCs, all of this gets uploaded to our past content channel. So you can download it, you can use it directly, you can draw inspiration from it, you can say, I really like this character concept, but I want to change a couple things. It's right there for you. It is absolutely right there for you. Yeah, and for whatever reason, it's just being a little derpy, huh? Look at that. Discord! Oh, it actually looks like I'm reconnecting. Did I drop connection? Well, it does seem like I lost my connection, so I'm going to end this video here, and when I can get internet back, I guess we'll come back and finish up with our third NPC.